There's the argument of the 15 schools funded by the government, public schools, that are within this area that is being evacuated, the people are being evicted, I should use the word evicted. Then someone on the sidelines watching this would say, how did the government set up these installations, knowing very well that this is within a water catchment area?
Let me respond to that. The way the government works in terms of promoting education is in two ways. One, through the Ministry of Education, where they give grants to schools. The second one is through the CDF board. Most members of parliament go out there and they build schools, and they build schools for their people. The current Ministry of Education is run by the PS, who is the accounting officer, is of course, he's a Kipsigis, and he's from that area. And you remember very well, there were those military men, or rather men and women in uniform, who went to Sierra Leone. When they came back, they were given a part of land. And over a period of time, of course, they got children. So these members of parliament, when they see a huge population is concentrated in an area, they don't go and they carry out a public participation, or they ask for the school to produce a title deed for them to be able to put the school. Because they want to continue being in office, they just go there and say, community, show us a place for us to put a structure. After they have put that structure, whether it is legal or not, okay, kids can start going in. And then the Ministry of Education can continue funding because now there is a school going on there. Most schools in Kenya have been set up by community, and over a given period of time, the government takes them over. So we cannot fault the government here. What we can fault is, number one, we can fault the members of parliament who go out there because they want to get votes, and where the numbers are. You know, my food as a politician are people. Where there are more people, I go there. But let me put it this way. Those schools are built in a trust land. Trust land which we, the people of Narok, we, not the Kericho people, we, the Maasais of Narok, set it aside because we discovered that it is the one which was feeding the Mara River. It is even the one which is feeding these fellows down there in Kericho. It is the one which is feeding people in Western Kenya, all the way to the Nile. So really, this issue is not about politics. This is about conservation. And it's about time that we focus on conservation so that we can be able to have a better country.
But in a lot of what you say, there's the undertones of the tribal undertones, because you keep saying we, but yes, it is for the good of the whole of the country, because it benefits the whole of the nation.
Let me finish, because you just asked me that question.
Yes.
I have repeated here, and it's a fact, that the former leaders, the former Maasai leaders who were there during the county council era, the Ndimamas and all the ones who came before us, are the ones who gave land to these fellows. Okay? When they gave them land, these guys from Kipsigis, they have land in Kericho, they have land in Bomet, and I'm telling you, even Tugens, and that's why you see former President Moi having a lot of land there, has land where? In Eldoret.
Question is this land acquired legitimately?
This land, I've had, it has not been acquired legally. It has not been acquired legally because the Maasais, and you understand this, Mark, because you grew up in Narok, we have group ranches. And those group ranches are, sort of like set out aside, and you can be able to tell that this group ranch is about 100 acres, or this group ranch is about 5,000 acres. Now, when these crooked fellows came in, and they expanded the group ranch, and they sold land to these fellows, to a few of them, not all of them. So what I was saying, for us to be mature on these matters, let those people who were sold land by the so-called Maasai landowners to go after those Maasai landowners, because in this country, we have the rule of law. If you obtain money under false pretense, then you go to jail. You understand?
Yes.
So if I, Ledama or Lekena, sold land to Aaron Cheruiyot to come in and live in the Mau forest, and the land does not belong to me, I go to jail. And we do leave conservation alone.
All right, let's get into that issue, the political
Can I also have my time now? And I hope Ledama will be as peaceful as I was when he was speaking. Because number one, Ledama is misleading the country. There is nobody who was given land. All these people bought this land. They paid money for it. And the title they have is from the government of Kenya, not the government of any other country. Number two, Ledama, as your colleague sometimes you make me feel embarrassed on your behalf, because I cannot come on national TV and try to domicile a particular county as if it belongs to only a single tribe. I know Narok County very well. Almost all tribes of this republic live in Narok, just as is the same for Kericho. Therefore, I would expect my colleague, when he's pushing his point, push it on grounds that you're speaking for the people of Narok and not for a particular community. Because Mau Forest, I've told you, Mark Basai, and you know this for a fact, covers 7 counties. And the longest part of Mau Forest is in Kericho County. It is properly conserved, full to the brim. That is why we have rain in Kericho almost full time. So between Ledama and myself, I am the one who is supposed to teach him how to do conservation. He cannot possibly teach me. Thing that I need to tell you,
your area being very well conserved.
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't there need then,
Yeah.
in this particular area that is contested,
Yeah.
for it to be restored?
Yes.
And that is why this particular exercise is going on. So you bless it.
But since we began this interview, I have told you that we must conserve the Mau in its entirety.
Yes.
Anybody living inside of the forest must be gotten out as soon as possible.
And that is what
but I have
Cheruiyot
told you,
is saying.
No. Cheruiyot Tobiko is in this particular place called Masai Mau Trust Land. You can read it, Mark.
Where the evictions are.
Where
right now.
evictions are going on. And this is the presidential task force of 2009. It says the Masai Mau Trust Land has never been surveyed as a forest, and it has never been gazetted. It is not a forest. That is one. So number 2, if your friend Tobiko feels that he wants to gazette this particular place to be a forest, I have asked and I've said, there's no problem, Ledama. Let him follow the law. Just argue.
Let me tell you something.
Argue for the rule of law. Let him possibly follow the proper procedure. Call people and say, those titles of yours, I want to revoke them. Where's
a part of common sense? For instance, I mean, without the gazettement notice, for a layman, and you just ask you, is this a forest or isn't it? Is it a catchment, water catchment area, and for the benefit of the entire nation, in terms of the environmental benefits that it brings, is it a forest or not?
Masai Mau is not a forest. Mau Forest is a water catchment area. You need to distinguish the two. That's where the whole. That's where the likes of Ledama.
Yes.
That's where the likes of Ledama are confusing the country. You know, they come and give big speeches about conservation, try to make some of us as if we are anti-conservation.
So where right now the government boots are, it's not.
It is not a forest, and that's why you remember I asked Ledama the first question that I asked him when he walked into this studio. Please show me any document that shows that Masai Mau Trust Land is a forest. And I've given him a week.
My friend,
let us see if you'll be able to produce it.
I don't need your week. I can give you the answer here. The answer is very clear.
I don't need an answer.
We, the people of Narok, you are from Kericho, go back to Kericho. We, the people of Narok County, before it was Narok County Council, we are the ones who set up that land. And we preserved it because we saw that it was a water catchment area. It is the one which is feeding Masai Mara, where we collect most of our revenue. It is us who made that decision. You've indicated here clearly that you've conserved the land in Kericho. So you know what? You conserve your land in Kericho, and then you come and destroy ours. We will not let you do that. And what Cheruiyot Tobiko is doing, and let me put it this way, because I've listened to you talk. You know, I'm not the one who embarrasses you. You are the one who is an embarrassment to yourself. Because you cannot go on national television and insult a cabinet secretary and tell him that he's an idiot. You cannot go out there and say, show me where you've been able to gazette. We are the people of Narok, and as a senator of Narok County, it is my duty to protect the interests of those people.
Which century do you live in Ledama?
Let me tell you, you go back to Kericho, and if you want to really, if you care so much about these people, you say my people. If you care about these people, you say about my people. Go and chase those guys, those Wazungus who have occupied thousands and thousands of acres planting tea, and take your people there.
Let's not get personal in terms of people.
In simple, Mark Basai,
yes.
In all those many words, what he's telling you, there is no document. That's why he resorts back to the people, with the Masai.
Let me tell you.
He has no document.
Let me tell you.
And neither does Cheruiyot Tobiko have any document to show that Masai Mau Trust Land is a forest. It can never be.
Cheruiyot Tobiko has been summoned, and they are going ahead with this second phase of eviction. You've told your people to stay put.
Yes.
The government is going ahead with the eviction.
Mark,
what will you do?
I want to tell the people of Masai Mau Trustland, those kids who are supposed to report to those 15 primary schools, please report as early as 7 a.m. tomorrow, and Keriako Tobiko will do nothing about it.
Let me tell you,
because
Mark.
we live in a country that is governed by the rule of law. You cannot just wake up and run the country as if it's your personal business. You know, there's a process.
Mark, that law that you quote, Mark, if indeed it is proven, and I've asked you again this before, that this area that you are occupying, you should not be here for the better of our environment as a nation, you should move out.
I will do that. I will be on the forefront.
Let me respond to this. Yes. First of all, it is very reckless for a senator to advise people to break the law.
Which law?
When you tell those children to report to school tomorrow, you will not be there when they are being kicked, because they are violating the rule of law. And the law is very clear. The law is that we must conserve this environment. You'll be in Nairobi here, maybe going to your house in Lavington when those kids are suffering. My advice to the people who have occupied Masai Mau Forest, and I love the name Masai because it is us who are generous enough to give out.
But this is all for Kenya. Yeah.
And it is good for Kenya.
Yes.
But you know what? Wanasemanga Waswahili walisema mrefu akirefuka, mjinga akirefuka, mrefu uko mashakani. We were so stupid before, but we are wiser now. And we will not let anyone continue to put us through, endless droughts. We will not allow that.
Is this
we will not allow, let me tell you,
Kenyans?
We Kenyans. Because, Mark, I said, I don't care whether you are Masai, I don't care whether you are Kalenjin, whether you are Kisi, because what Aaron Cheruiyot does not even know is that those people who have occupied that place, most of them are Kisi, Kikuyu, there are some Masais, and a few Kipsigis. The ones that he's protecting, and he does not want to tell you the truth, are the bourgeoisies. Those guys who were in leadership before, who own thousands and thousands of acres of land. These documents he's carrying here, he's being very selective in reading them.
If you know this, the government knows this, why doesn't the government go for them?
You know what? We are so happy that this government is finally seeing the light. You know what? The drought last year was devastating. This country was littered with carcasses of dead animals.
And we're still faced by drought.
And we're still faced by drought.
Yes.
You know, both domestic and wild animals. Let me tell you, I cried. I went to the Mara River, and hippos were dying just because some few individuals have thought that they are God in themselves by occupying land which we've set aside for it to be able to feed us.
Okay.
We cannot let that happen.
Right.
And I want to say this.
And for the record,
all of Kenya depend on the Mau forest. The reason why that part was left, is because we discovered that it is a source of so many rivers, the entire area.
And
finally,
that is known, yes.
Let me tell you, what Aaron and his teams are saying is that these people were given title deeds. I remember very well.
They were not given.
If you buy land, you're given a title. Let me tell you, they are saying they were given title deeds.
Yes.
I remember very well Natembea, okay, called upon everyone who had a title to present that title for them to be authenticated. I know so many, even current MCAs. There's a lady called, there's a gentleman who was a councillor called Olesurum.
Yes.
He surrendered his title. There's a lady called Mary Simat who surrendered a title and said, I don't want this land anymore. Why is it that some people can be wise? Surum had over 3,000 or 4,000 acres. He surrendered it back and he said, I'm not interested in this.
Yes, if
now,
they have the genuine titles, yes, and they still need to vacate, should they be compensated?
Let me tell you, let me put it this way. If a title is genuine,
yes,
and you are given land there, within the boundaries of the group ranches that we know,
yes,
the 5 group ranches, the original boundaries.
Yes.
Let me tell you about even these issues of group ranches.
Just go ahead.
Some of them were only 2.
Yes.
If those are genuine titles, okay, then present it to us. Once you bring them, then the government can look into ways of making sure that you are compensated somewhat if you're genuine.
Yes.
But if you're not genuine, please don't waste our time.
Would you go with that? As you conclude.
Yes, because Ledama, what you need to know is that we did that process in 2009. The Hassan Nur Commission listed each and every title deed allotment letter, sale agreement.
No, there is no allotment
It
letter.
is
Don't confuse
listed
people.
on
There
this
is no allotment
You know,
letter.
As you
his
claim, as you
problem.
claim.
You
his problem-
allot a plot. You don't
know,
allot a land. Don't confuse us.
I get
We are
tired
not-
of this guy.
we're
Because
not-
just
we're
finish
not
your
thugs.
point.
And
Be
we don't
decent.
My
say-
question to you
No,
is,
don't
Bwana
lie to
Cheruiyot,
Kenyans.
Be decent.
What-
Keep quiet.
No,
I was quiet
you
when you were
need to be
debating.
decent, and you need to take those people back and occupy those
You know, you
lands.
need to
Alright,
train
hold on,
this guy
hold
on
on,
how
hold
to
on.
Let me
debate.
tell you, I do know how to debate.
Just
If
to-
you know how
just
to
finish,
debate,
okay?
keep quiet
Cheruiyot.
when I'm talking.
Have facts. Put the facts on the table, we can deal with the facts.
Ledama,
I don't want
and
to deal
Cheruiyot,
with...
to that point of compensation.
But will I
if
be
this
allowed
is an
my
avenue-
time?
If this is an avenue,
Yes.
and as you're concluding,
Yeah.
if this is an avenue that we can pursue, you would go with it.
Yeah, no, we don't need to pursue. That information is already here. Government has had it for the last 10 years.
So what's
It
wrong
is-
with having them who are in there
Yeah.
get compensation for other land elsewhere so we can conserve
you know,
this area?
You know, actually three things are documented here as options for that particular area.
Yes.
Number one is compensation.
Yes.
Number two is give them alternative land.
Yes.
Number three is status quo, retain it as it is. That is why that particular area is known as the status quo area. And Ledama should not come and lecture us here about conservation as if we don't care
friend,
about
so,
it.
just to get you clear,
I do care about the environment.
You will be okay with the eviction
yes.
if the compensation and alternatives are given to these.
I with
So
it.
the issue is the land.
The issue is the land.
Alternative
The fact that
Okay.
government
No,
can
Mark.
show up on your land where
Mark.
you have a title deed and ask you to leave without having a
The
discussion
issue is
with
not
you.
whether this area is to be conserved.
The
In
issue-
terms of
sorry,
where they are right now,
Yeah.
it is actually part of the Mao forest that
you
they
know,
need
that-
to
I have
vacate.
said time without number that is not an issue. If in their studies they have established that they need this particular area to be able to keep on, you know, the
already have.
regeneration
They already have.
of if they have
Yes.
they have done that, I have said there is a legal way at achieving it, not the way to Keriako Tobiko is carrying it.
All right.
You don't
Mark,
show up.
finally,
you don't
I'll
show
put
up
it
at
this way.
people's doors and just
Let
ask
me
them
tell
to
you.
leave.
Okay.
Mark,
you know,
They
you
didn't just
follow-
show up though. This has been coming up
let me
over
tell
and
you,
over again.
we've been asking these people to leave. The government has been asking them to leave.
Yeah.
We, the people of Narok, have been asking the encroachers to leave the forest because people downstream are suffering. They have refused. I heard that these guys, 35 of them, are going to court. Please go. We will also go to court. And guess what? All Mao forest must be conserved. Whether you like it or not, it must be conserved for the future
And
generations.
let's